Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk about a subject that is endlessly fascinating to me and I think can be a little bit controversial. So I just want to start by saying you all know that there is no one truth in my book. And so I like to explore ideas, various beliefs from different perspectives, right? And those can always evolve and change. And I think one of the most powerful tools that we have available to us is communication and conversation, right? It opens us up to different perspectives. It helps us to look at things a different way. And I'm always in favor of those things. And I had a conversation with a doctor this morning that really got me like jazzed up about this subject. And I thought, I don't think I've ever made a video on this on the channel. So I thought, let's make a video while it's fresh in my mind and we can kind of talk about it and break it down from a few different perspectives here. So I've had the great fortune in my life to work with scientists and doctors. Some of them have been, insofar as, let me just say, like, some of them have been clients and some of them have been personal friends of mine. And it's really helped to open my eyes to how the medical community, the scientific community, of course, I'm not blanket statementing anyone, but how people in those communities tend to view psychic mediums or people with intuitive abilities. And I think I really walked into that type of energy feeling like I would have to defend myself. And I've often found that scientists and doctors are the people who are the most open to having conversations about intuitive ability. So I spoke with a doctor this morning and we had a wonderful conversation around intuitive and psychic medium abilities. So the conversation being around, are psychic medium abilities a gift, or is it something that stems from perhaps severe trauma or experience in childhood that kind of upped the ante on one's ability to intuit how other people are feeling? And is this what the psychic medium is doing in a session? Is it because they have, through an experience of their own in quite likely in childhood, had to intuit their surroundings to such an extent that they're very, very open to being able to intuit other people's emotions? Or is psychic mediumship ability a gift that you're just born with and you come in with, right? And is it a muscle that you exercise? And I've certainly, in the evolution of my own journey, had a lot of different evolutions in regards to what I think about this. But the beautiful space of conversation around this that I think is wonderful is that anytime we can have a discussion about intuitive ability and be able to acknowledge and honor that we do come in and we do have intuitive ability, I think that's a beautiful thing. And certainly we can see that from a human perspective as a species, our intuition is something that most definitely does allow us to survive. So, that's pretty groovy, right? And I do think that when we suffer a traumatic or a childhood with trauma or abuse, our intuitive abilities are absolutely amplified to an nth degree because we have to survive a dynamic. And in order to survive, many times we have to intuit a parent or a adult figure in our life, their next move, so that we know how to respond as the little person, individual that's having that has to stay in an environment that they can't escape, right? So that most certainly could build that intuitive muscle and fine tune and hone that to such an extent that you're then able to take that out into the world and share that ability with others, right? And then I think I love also the idea that some of us choose to incarnate with that intuitive ability at a very open, receptive level where it's very, very, very strong. And you will notice as you connect with people that there are some people who are very shut down around intuition, and there are some people that are very open to intuition, and everywhere in between on that spectrum, right? But it's fascinating to me to think about, to sit with how those abilities get fine-tuned to such an extent that you can offer a reading for someone and know nothing about their history or their experience and be able to share intimate details with them about their life, right? And I know I've certainly been blessed to be able to have that experience as a reader. And it's something that you do understand does not emanate from yourself. You know, if you've spent any time with me in sacred work, I will always say that when you're holding a space of priestess or you're a vessel, you're literally just a vessel. You're the conduit for what's coming through. It's not something that is coming from you, or that you have created or have sole ownership of. So there's also this idea of an ability to be able to step outside of yourself and hold a space of conduit that I do think is really beautifully, can be beautifully explored, fine-tuned, honed within yourself when you want to step into this type of work. And I definitely have seen and witnessed those who only step into that type of space in ritual work. And it's no less effective if it's only held in that type of work. So there's this beautiful expression as part of being human, right? And how much we want to step into our intuitive ability. And I think very early on in my career, I really felt like, well, everybody has intuitive ability and it's just a matter of paying attention to it. I think as the years have gone on, I can certainly see that some of us have chosen to incarnate with more direct access to the intuition. But I do still think that we all, because it is a survival tactic of the human species to be able to intuit probable outcome, right? Or what's really going on in a situation. I do think we all have access to a certain amount of ability. And it is a muscle insofar as the more we pay attention to it, the more that we use it, it really does become so much stronger and very powerful if we want to step into that. But that really does require dedication on our part, doesn't it? I do think, and I had this wonderful conversation with a doctor about this morning, that when you have dealt with a significant amount of trauma in childhood, or you had an experience where you really had to rely on that intuition in order to survive, it does make it very easy. It is your go-to to access that ability. Both an intuitive ability and an empath ability, that can be a positive and a negative, because when you're always open to receiving what's happening around you, it can become very difficult to define what's yours and what's someone else's. So this conversation, I could talk about this for hours with people because it's so fascinating to me. And I don't think that there's one truth around this. So this isn't a video where I'm going to give you a definitive answer to this, or even my actual real current thoughts, because this is constantly evolving, but it's always exciting to me when I get a chance to talk about it, especially with someone in a field who you would think would be against the type of work that I do every day in my life and that I pursue as a career. And so I encourage you, if you're watching this video today, to think about your own intuitive abilities, how they express themselves, how much attention you pay to them, and where you think they come from. Do you think it's a God-given gift, or do you think it's something that you fine-tuned and developed in order to survive as a species at a specific point in time in your life? There's no wrong answer, right? And it's a fascinating subject to explore. And I definitely think tools like tarot, oracle decks, various other forms of divination can help us really access and learn to trust our intuition. However, intuition is also not infallible because it is coming through a conduit that's in a human body, right? So there's also the beautiful awareness of trusting intuition, but also engaging with the other faculties that come into the human experience in order to move in the directions that our soul feels called to, right? It's all about balancing those elements, uniting them with spirit, and being open to the experience as a human. But it was such a fascinating conversation today, and I realized that I hadn't really made a video on this channel. Intuitive abilities are something many of us feel drawn to explore at this point in time. And so you can sit with for yourself what draws you to explore that, what's drawn you to want to open up to the intuition, and how can you work with that in a manner that assists you most on your path, right? So, as one intuitive to another, I am wishing you much love and many blessings. I'll see you in the next video.